Welcome all to the County Commission meeting. We have just concluded the public comment portion of the meeting and are now moving on to the regular agenda. We will start with an invocation by Sharon Shores of the Universal Life Church Ministries and a member of our Interfaith Council.
Thank you. For those that don't know, the St. George Interfaith Council meets the third Friday of every month at various denominations. There are about 20 of us, and they're from all faiths, from Baha'i to Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to Catholic to even the Jewish faith. So we meet. And we sponsor the Crop Walk, which was held a couple weeks ago, as well as on February 17th, we're going to have the Interfaith Harmony Concert at Crimson High School. So thank you for the opportunity. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you with open hearts and minds, seeking your wisdom and guidance and discernment as we move through our lives. We pray our leaders are guided by the wisdom, guidance, and discernment as they make decisions for this community this afternoon. As we are all part of this great community, we are also children of God, sons and daughters of the living God. We pray that we acknowledge our differences as we seek our common ground, each of us working toward the good of all. As we grow as individuals, let us also grow as community, emulating your love to all. We recognize in this world there is hurt and sorrow, deeds that confound us, and actions for which we can find no justification. Yet we know there is untold good in this world, folks that work every day for the benefit of all people, as does this council. Let us be the good that we want to see in others. Let us work for the change that we seek. In this Christmas season, the birth of your Son, Jesus Christ, let us invest some of our time into quiet reflection and renewal, forming the path for a greater, better, and more loving 2024. Let us each be the sowers of all that is good, all that is uplifting, and all that adds faith, hope, and love to this world. In the name of your Son, Christ Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. We'll now have a Pledge of Allegiance led by Jerry Curtis from the U.S. Navy, retired.
Everybody please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, and as always, thank you for your service. We're going to start with the consent agenda. The consent agenda is a means of expediting the consideration of routine matters. If a commissioner requests that items be removed from the consent agenda, those items are placed at the beginning of the regular agenda. Other than a request to remove items, a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda is not debatable.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make the motion to approve the consent agenda as follows. These items can be separated out if necessary. Item A, consideration of auditor-approved claims for payment for November the 8th, 2023 through December the 5th, 2023. Item B, consideration of commission meeting minutes of November 7th, 2023. Item C, consideration of work meeting minutes of November the 9th, 2023. Item D, consideration of administrative adjustments for real property. Item E, consideration of administrative adjustments for personal property. Item F, consideration of applications for property tax abatements. There were 3. Item G, acknowledgement of adoption of ordinances number 2023-1240-0 and 2023-1241-0, published on Sunday, November the 12th, 2023. Item H, consideration of Washington County holiday schedule for 2024. Item I, consideration of regular commission meeting schedule for 2024. And item J, consideration of a partially amended plat for Pinion Hills Phase 3 to change 4 existing lots into 3, referencing lots 58 through 61, and the applicant is Prescott. That's my motion.
I didn't get that. Can you start over?
Sure.
I'm just kidding.
By memory?
I'll second the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. You'll notice that Commissioner Iverson looks slightly different today. Better looking. Is that? Commissioner Iverson had a trip planned long before the election dates had been moved. He wouldn't have normally been out for the canvassing, and this was planned for long after we would have normally canvassed the election, but with the special election dates this year, the canvass is moved back to today, him being out of the country. We welcome, the state law is very clear on how the Board of Canvasser replacements are supposed to be, and the next one in line is our treasurer. So we welcome our treasurer, David Whitehead, who will sit in just for the next item, which is just the Board of Canvassers meeting, which is for the election portion, and then you can stay if you want. It's a good view. You can stick around. You can walk out, whatever you want to do at that point.
Tax payments to process.
You are busy in your own office right now, so.
Mr.
with-
Chairman? Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
It would be appropriate to have a motion to open the meeting and then a motion by the two of you to appoint the treasurer to fill
Oh, yeah, that
Commissioner
sounds
Iverson's seat.
okay. So I'm opening the canvassing meeting.
Correct.
Go ahead and make a motion.
I'll move that we open this portion of the agenda for the purpose of canvassing the November 21st, 2023 general election.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
I also,
Now,
also appoint David Whitehead to.
now we're into that meeting. Now we have a motion to appoint David Whitehead as a Board of Canvasser replacing Commissioner Iverson.
Correct.
That's my
And
motion.
I'll second that motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Welcome to the board. We'll now move to item number 1 of this meeting is the Board of Canvassers, which is the canvass of the general election. Our clerk auditor, Ryan Sullivan.
Good afternoon. We've got the official canvass results here for you as they pertain to the House District 2, otherwise known as CD2. That's what obviously you're here to canvass and hopefully certify at the end of all this. But I just wanted to go over the results. Again, these are as they pertain to the CD2 race. We have 104,556 registered voters. Of those, 46,138 ballots were cast. There were 19 blank ballots that were cast for this race. This represents a voter turnout of 44.13%. We had our elections administrator, Melanie Appleknap. She looked kind of back through some municipal election stats for us, and it looked like we were closer to like 42% generally on historically on some municipal elections. So maybe this congressional race piques some more interest to get out and vote by a couple percent more. I still would like to see that number a lot higher than 44.1%.
Should be.
Let's go over the candidates and their results. I believe these are as they appeared on the ballot. Perry Myers received 629 votes. Celeste Malloy, 31,866. Cassie Easley, 1,594. January Walker, 537. Kathleen Reeby, 8,369. Bradley Green, 1,620. Joe Buckman, 281. There were 192 write-in names. Interestingly enough, I think the one official write-in received 0 votes. That was kind of interesting. So that's a total of 45,088 votes cast. There were 161 overvotes, 889 undervotes, and so that again the total votes cast were 46,138. So do you have any
So just for public
questions?
knowledge, Ryan, overvote is somebody who voted for more than
One
the
candidate on
allowable
this
number
race,
of
yeah.
candidates, whether it's, yeah.
Which is sad because it just negates the whole ballot.
I mean, undervote
For that
is that they
race.
could have voted for 3 city council races and they voted for 2 or 1 or none.
Correct. So in this case, nothing.
Yeah. We are only canvassing, if anybody's looking at the results and saying, yeah, what about St. George or Washington or anybody else? We are the Board of Canvassers only for the congressional race, as you said, not for the city council races. Those city councils run their own canvasses.
Now this is just overall, but I just think it's an interesting statistic that this takes into all municipalities, but we had, this is in-person voting. Take a guess.
Well, now you got me scared. I don't know. I don't want to guess.
So there were 78 people that did early voting, 78
Early in-person voting?
in-person voting, and 813 on election day. So that's a total of 891. It's a lot of money to put that on, and so it's just interesting to me that we only get, less than 1,000 out to vote in person.
Okay. Do you have any questions for Ryan?
No? All of these results are available on our website?
Yeah, I do want to mention some things about this particular election compared to the last election where it was our first time running our new sorting machine, and I just couldn't be happier. You always run into little glitches and problems, but this one went a lot smoother, so I'm really optimistic, cautiously optimistic for our presidential election next year. It was really good to have this smaller race to work some of our processes out with our new machines and new people, and it went really well this time.
Good. You said you have no questions?
No questions.
So state law says that the Board of Canvassers shall accept the results unless there's evidence of clear evidence of wrongdoing or error. Do you have any clear evidence of wrongdoing or error?
I do not. None's been presented.
Then I'll take a motion.
I move that we accept the results for the as canvassers for the November 21st, 2023 congressional and municipal and bond results.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much. That would be a motion to go out of this meeting, to close this one?
Yeah, that would be appropriate, and then to open the commission meeting.
I'll make a motion to close the canvas meeting.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We're out of our canvassing meeting. Thank you very much for your service. You may be excused, yes. For your esteemed
Thank you.
service to Washington County and to our voters. We now go on to the regular agenda items for consideration. First is, or item number 2 on the agenda now is presentation by Dixie Conservation District, our friend Stuart Bowler. There he is.
And
Stuart,
then-
welcome.
Commissioners, a motion to open this meeting up
Oh,
again
yeah.
would be appropriate as well.
Hold on, Stuart. You're not allowed to talk yet.
Reopen the general commission meeting for
I'll second
December
that.
the 5th.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Now we're in our general
I'm glad
commission meeting.
I'm glad you said that, because almost out of habit, I started to make a motion, so, but not in this
You've done
type
this
of
a few
setting.
times
So
in
done it a
various-
couple of times, yeah, so.
various
Hey, well,
entities.
Hey, thank you so much, commissioners, for having us here for a few minutes. Would you like some introductions, I think you probably know us pretty well, but
We
just.
know you and Tice real well. but
Okay, and
why
then-
don't you do it for the public? How about that?
Okay, I'm Stuart Bowler. I'm from Vail. I'm the chairman of the Dixie Conservation District. This is Tice Palmer. He's with the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food. His title is Resource Coordinator. He's out of Panguitch, Utah. I've worked with Tice now for about 20 years. We're also joined by Lloyd Jessup from Hurricane and Sam Larson from St. George, who are other board members. Kelly Blake couldn't make it this afternoon. And then Ken Richens is our newest board member from Hurricane, who couldn't make it either. And we're thrilled to have Ken on the board, highly respected gentleman from Hurricane, and happy to have him here joining us. I believe that even maybe ties into a later agenda item that you have for the appointment to the Agricultural Advisory Committee. And that's why we're here primarily, along with lots of other reasons. It's lots of fun things going on with conservation right now. Our board, the Dixie Conservation District Board, serves as the Agricultural Advisory Committee. We do work with ag protection zones in Washington County and in Hurricane City. We also serve that role for them. They've had more over there than we do in the county, but we're always happy to answer questions from any commissioners or the county attorney's office, whoever. I've had some calls from the county attorney's office, and they're always welcome. So we appreciate that opportunity. But just to keep this brief, like I said, just touching base with you on what's going on. Right now is an exciting time for conservation, whether it's water, soil, air in Washington County. We have tremendous support from partners in Salt Lake. Our Commissioner of Agriculture, Craig Butters, Deputy Commissioner Pearson, and Conservation Commission Executive Director Jim Bocut with the Department of Agriculture. We have State Conservationist Emily Fife with NRCS who care about Southern Utah and who care about Washington County. And we are basically a partner-based organization. We're all volunteers. All 5 of us are working under the Conservation Commission. And I want to mention too, we've had somebody from Washington County on that commission continuously for my full run of 20 years here. It was Ralph Staley for a number of years. I served on it for 5 or 6 years before assuming another position. And now Sam Larson, who's with us today, is on that commission as well. So Washington County has been well represented on the Utah Conservation Commission under the Department of Agriculture. We have great support from BLM, USU Extension, Ben Scow at USU Extension. He apologized for not being here today as well, but he's conducting some pesticide training for continuing education credits. Ben is terrific. To hit just a few of the programs that we have going, we have a soil health conference, and I do have a forum there in February that Tony Richards from the Department of Agriculture and Christy Davis from UACD are working on. There's some terrific speakers coming in from all over the country and Mexico as well on that. That'll be the first week of February. We recently had the UACD convention, in which we had, 150 supervisors and staff from the different agencies in Washington County. Celeste Malloy is one of us. We're thrilled, as I think probably lots of us are, to see our new Congresswoman, who started out with NRCS and in conservation and then went to Washington County. Not only do lots of us know Celeste, but we consider her a friend, and she does us as well, and so it's nice to have that. Water optimization program through the Department of Agriculture. There are millions of dollars coming throughout the state, and even if you're not part of the Great Salt Lake, we're getting some of the dollars down here to help with pipelines, water efficiency, water conservancy. We have a soil health program that ties in with this convention, but they did some grants, and our conservation district was able to get a $6,800 grant on this round of funding for it's an ATV drill, which we will get ordered and be here very soon. And the county had indicated a willingness to partner in that, and do some education, and it'll be for small farms and urban farming and that type of thing. Urban farming is a real focus in this county and in this area right now, which we're appreciative of. And so we'll be doing some things with that. Hopefully it'll be here by the first of the year, and we'll get rolling on that. Oh, I could go on. Dang, as you know, some of the things I'm involved with, this is what makes me happy, and this is what is positive. And we have this opportunity to be a partner with not only these terrific state agencies, but with Washington County. And we appreciate the commissioners, and we look forward to strengthening this partnership and continuing this partnership. We're just so many positive things on the ground. And I mentioned the supervisors we have as being volunteers. And I'm not saying this to say, oh, yeah, right. I'm the weak link on our board, without question. The 4 gentlemen that I serve with, they know this county and they know it well. They have a vast experience from firefighting, range, water. Kelly, Lloyd, Sam, and Ken are terrific. And you already have us on committees, and we're happy to serve, and we enjoy the opportunity to serve. And, I could go on, I won't. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and to visit with you and touch base with you. We'll be doing some more good and exciting things here after the first of the year, and we'll be in touch with you then. So if you have any questions, I'll wrap it up.
Well, we appreciate you being here. I attend many of your meetings.
Yeah.
We all have before. And, it's an overlooked thing by most of the people in this county that agriculture is important, that food security is one of the most important things to the general population of Utah. When they fill out surveys, it always ranks very high on the list. That where does our food come from? And we want to know that it's grown locally, that it's grown and is sustainable. And so we thank you for your efforts, for what we can do in our part of this state on agriculture and on soil conservation here in Washington County. I did sit at a meeting we were both at last night. I'm not going to quote his name because I'm about to misquote him, and so I don't want to embarrass him. But your soil conservation coming up, the meeting.
Yes.
I was told that your speaker from Mexico can make it rain. Where you're at, if you do just the right things, you hold your breath in the right way, we can make it rain. So we want that now publicized to everybody as mandatory watching, because we're going to make this place look like the Amazon.
Maybe that's why Ryan Reese from the BLM is so excited about this
It might have been
conference.
Ryan that was telling you
It may
that,
have been,
yes.
yeah. Ryan's excited about this one. And I've heard, I don't know the gentleman who's coming. I've heard incredible things about him. And I know lots of people are really looking forward to have him coming to southern Utah, where this is exciting for him. And it's going to be, so if you have Super Bowl tickets that weekend, just set them aside, come to the Soil Health.
Super Bowl or rain and water?
Yeah, we'll
What are
take
we-
rain
you
and
know,
water
really?
anytime,
Right,
but
Stuart?
I appreciate those comments, Commissioner Snow.
Stuart, one thing I have learned and I appreciate is that a lot of people take the word conservation to mean we're going to lock up something, we're going to put it away. And I admire the efforts to do that on some parcels of land. Your effort in conservation is to conserve the way the land is used properly. And so even when you look at wildlife and the opening up of spaces that have been invaded by certain species of whether weed or tree or what have you, so that there's that constant balance between what wildlife can eat and how it thrives as well. So I appreciate your efforts in a broad spectrum of what the true meaning of the word conservation is to let things naturally evolve, but yet, as Commissioner Snow said, what's good for humans as well.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate that. Very, very well said. And yeah, just to kind of on that note, one of the real efforts has been the water catchments Sam and Kelly have been
Yes.
putting in that benefit wildlife year round. And it's great to, at least for some of us, to pull up there and see a bighorn sheep drinking from one of those along with the cows. So,
There you go.
but thank you for those comments. I appreciate it. I will take just a second and hand you out save me from emailing this to you.
Please.
On the soil health thing. Perhaps you've already received it. But
Perfect.
thanks for your time.
Thank you for coming and to all of your board ties for what you do. Keep it up, and we always want to support agriculture in Washington County however we can. Thank you. Item number 2 is a presentation by the Five County Association of Governments, Nate Weiberg and friends. Ryan.
Commissioner Brian Theriot, could I take a personal privilege real quick?
You may.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, come on. What? This is Bush League. What are we doing around here? Thank you, Brian. I'm
Thank
sure
you,
Devin
Commissioner.
really wants to be on.
And yours are good.
Ours are good? Okay,
Yeah,
thank
yours are
Nicole
good.
looked good in a suit.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian Theriot, Executive Director, Five County Association of Governments, and Nate Weiberg, he's one of our planning managers. And we appreciate Five County because one of the 5 counties that helps with this organization, you're the last county that we've come to here. So we've hit all of our counties this year. And
Right, you're housed here, and we're
I
the
know,
best.
I know. We were on the agenda, but we just kept getting pushed.
Saved the
We're
best
okay.
for last.
All right, our fault. Okay.
But we're here. We're happy to be here. And Nate and I were also thinking we have followed behind the school foundations of every county. So I was looking to see if the school foundation, but we're happy to follow behind the conservation. Anyway, we want to say publicly here, thank you especially Commissioner Almquist for serving on our board at Five County. And it's very helpful. We do economic development, we do social services, aging services, and programs like that. And Nate's going to share a few of what we just completed.
Thanks, Brian. So one of the big projects that we work on, we do a lot of long-range planning at the Association of Governments throughout the region. But we are tasked by the Economic Development Administration to write a comprehensive economic development strategy that's region-wide. So all 5 of our counties are included in that. And it involves a lot of work. We reach out through a lot of stakeholder engagement to our county economic development directors. This year, we even did a business survey that we pushed out through the Chambers of Commerce. We really wanted to get a better idea of what our citizens and stakeholders think our strengths and weaknesses are for economic development. We finished that a few months ago, and our board just approved the final document. Was that last month? Last month. And we will be starting that process again here in a few years. It's a 5-year plan, so we're always cycling and trying to make it better and find what our initiatives are and our goals. And then if you go to the last page, and did you hand out a pamphlet?
I did.
Yeah, we have it.
We've got it.
I'm just going to cover the community and economic development programs here. So the top one is the Utah Permanent Community Impact Fund Board. They're a little low on money, but we're still gearing up for the next program year. So we have sent out to all of our counties and cities across the region to send us their capital improvement plans. That's a requirement to apply for CIB funding. And that'll be due in January, early January. The same requirement is part of the Community Development Block Grant Program. We've spent a lot of money in Washington County through that program. It's a HUD program, if you're curious. And, oh yeah, Housing and Urban Development. Thanks, Brian. I'm so used to talking in the silos, and we all understand the acronyms. And I just want to mention the Natural Hazard Mitigation Plan. That's also a long-range plan that we do across all 5 counties. It's a 5-year plan. And that plan allows our communities to engage with FEMA for natural hazard mitigation projects. So if your project's not in that plan, you can't apply for FEMA funding. And we're actually going to be applying this spring for new planning funding, so we can get going on that cycle again in the following year. Okay.
Brian, I can say from my experience on the board that even though a lot of these are federally funded as well as some of your programs and state, but they would be horrible at administering it. So the wisdom of having 5 counties, 6 county, other organizations like this is that it's closer to home. You meet the people who need the heat assistance or housing, and you verify that their need is real, etc. It's just a better way to distribute funds that are all taxpayer dollars that is both equitable but accurate. And I've witnessed that, and thank your team for doing that.
Thanks, Commissioner. To go off of that, we do have a veteran assistance program, and it's not a veteran office, right? But it's a case manager that works with us, and a lot of our veterans, they feel more comfortable coming to her to seek out their benefits, and so that's extremely valuable, having that connection. And then today I just met with the program director for the state. He did an interview with me on our weatherization program, and we can report to you that we are the top producing association of governments for productions numbers for weatherization in the state. So
We have the best weather.
yes,
So,
look at it outside.
I get it, it's all 5
Yeah.
counties, but you would, I agree with that.
Brian, I think it'd be useful for the public, since we obviously know what Fife County is some people are gonna look at this and say, wow, that's a lot of government programs. Well, these are federal and state laws that establish these programs, whether, wherever they come from, they're funded that way. And then all of the counties in Utah need the resources. They don't necessarily all need them in their own county all the time, full time. And so we spread this around to try and reduce the burden on the taxpayers in associations of government. So you cover Beaver, Iron, Kane, Garfield, and Washington counties, so that we can spread that around to not make it quite so bureaucratic, and that you provide the resources to all 5 of those counties, so we kind of share the load instead of having to hire our own. Is that a pretty good summation of what Fife County does?
Very well spoken, Commissioner.
I've been familiar for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Well, thank you very much for coming and for the update. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Okay.
Thank you.
And to your whole staff.
Item number 4 is a presentation, who's just going to love this, an Employee Longevity Award. Our own Brittany McMichael, who is the director of our Greater Zion Washington County Tourism Office. And Brittany, I'm calling on you.
Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about yourself.
So Brittany has been here for 25 years. She started working here at the ripe age of 4. And there was no child labor laws back then.
It's kind of like
you
a
come to most of
birthday.
these meetings. You've seen the silver envelope numerous times, Brittany.
Yeah.
Don't pretend. But now, Brittany, I'm just going to be honest. There are people that are gonna, in this county that would say, "Oh, she's the one to blame for the traffic in February." Maybe a little, sometimes, but you're not alone in this. You have a great staff, a great team that works with you. But those same people should actually be quite grateful for you. The tourists that come here do spend money in hotels and things that are funds that are restricted for what we use, but they also spend a lot of money in our stores and in our businesses and in our shops that we have, the businesses that we have in this county, and provide about 1/3 of our sales tax revenue. So for every one of those tourists that come here and is sometimes an annoyance, because if we're honest, they sometimes are, or Ironman, that's sometimes an annoyance, it saves the average household in Washington County somewhere between $1,200 and $1,500 a year. That to provide the same level of services, we would have to raise your property taxes that high to keep what we're doing now. But they compensate for that. So maybe they're not always an annoyance, and you do a really good job at the 6.2 million visitors we have a year to Washington County. I always like to say that when we were in Hawaii, we were meeting with the mayor of Hawaii, who's be like their commissioner for the Big Island, and he was saying, we've got so many visitors, oh my goodness. And I said, how many do you have? 1.2 million visitors. And he said it like I should be shocked, and we kind of looked at each other like, yeah. He's like, well, how many do you have? I was like, well, that's like a Wednesday for us. So
In December.
6.2, and he couldn't believe, well, you're just Washington County, we're Hawaii. I was like, yeah, we're better. So anyway, Brittany is, for all of the public, and you're gonna hate this, but deal with it, is phenomenal. We love working with Brittany. We look forward to many, many more years with her on the staff, because I don't know if there's anybody we work with, any other department we work with as closely and have as much trust and reliance on Brittany's opinion and on her expertise than we do in you. You are an absolute asset to this entire county and to our staff, and we couldn't do what we do without you. Thank you for your service for 25 years. Let's make it, you're halfway there.
Thank you.
Halfway.
Appreciate it.
Halfway.
Gil?
Oh, I just heard over the weekend of another organization that was trying to hire Brittany away. And I immediately went on the warpath on saying, I will never cater to you again. I will make sure no one else does. I was like war. And naturally, luckily, Brittany said, no, I want to stay in Washington County. So thank you for doing that.
And since that organization knows who they are, they will never receive another payment
Yeah.
if they try and take you away. So thank you, Brittany, for your time.
Thank
Have a
you.
picture.
25 years. Many people are looking to retire at 25 years, but Brittany is just barely getting going, so. Item number 5 is consideration of the ratification of a purchase request. Ray Boyer.
Okay, so we wound up in a situation where we were trying to buy a vehicle, and we tried to go the right route, the normal route, but the vehicle got sold out from underneath of us. We had an opportunity to buy one that was almost exactly the same, so we jumped at the chance and decided to get pre-approval, go through the process ahead of time, and so we're here to ratify that purchase of the vehicle. We've done some swapping around of vehicles and reassigned some vehicles to other departments that needed them, and got some we were able to just buy one new vehicle. And this is for a 2024 Nissan Frontier. And the total amount for this is $39,008. And unless there's any questions, that's all I have.
I'll make the motion that we approve the purchase ratification as presented by Ray.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 6 is the consideration of regular purchase request, also Ray Boyer.
Yes, the first one we have here is for Legacy Park. This is for some repairs on the shop doors and some stall barn doors. The shop doors are they actually had to replace one of the doors. This is for $16,143.48. And for the stall barn doors, this is for the Hebron building. This is for $45,418.35, and that's for repair and replacement, if needed, for 14 doors in that building. Oh, and then, so the total for that one is $61,561.83. We needed to use a different vendor for this next, but this is still fixing garage doors and stall barn doors. This first one is for the Grafton building. A vendor that was doing an event hit the door. They wound up paying for that repair, which was $6,430. And then the remaining repairs and or replacements if needed. The total came to $13,630, which includes that reimbursement amount. And the next one is for miscellaneous furniture for the new building, little additions here and there, added up to $22,181.29. This cost included delivery and installation. The next one is specifically furniture for our HR department. This is for $12,910.11. The next one is for emergency services. This is a grant-funded purchase by the bomb squad. This is a state grant. It's a complete EOD 10E bomb suit for $42,550. This is a regional asset and will be distributed as needed.
And paid for by grant funds?
Yes. The next one is also grant-funded. This is for a solar observation trailer for $49,461.14. This is also a regional asset and will be distributed and used as needed for different agencies. The next few are for the roads department. This is for road maintenance. This first one is from SR 18 towards Pinto. This one, the road base total is, we're estimating at this time, $200,000. And then on this particular project, they needed to rent a specific truck, and the price for that, including the hours of the employees who run that truck, is $150,000 for a total cost of $350,000. And the next project is for the Twin Springs Road, which is a Forest Service Road number 355. And all we needed here was some road base. The roads department has the rest of the equipment to be able to deal with this. We're estimating $20,000 for that. And the next one, we were presented with a unique opportunity. A local fuel supply company wound up with some extra off-road fuel, and so we were able to scoop that up at a reduced cost but the total cost, we were able to get 6,000 gallons for $18,822.20. And the next one is for the purchase of 2 new 2023 graders at $365,000 each, but we do a trade-in buyback program with the company, and these are trading in 2 2021 graders for $350,000 each, so our total cost is $30,000.
And Ray, we take care of them, or they wouldn't take them back.
Correct.
But we do use them quite a bit. This
Yes.
is a deal.
Yes.
And I'm always quite, shaking my head in amazement that they do it for us, because we always have good equipment out there that's safe for our employees, even though graders get, they get thrown through the ringer on county roads. And anyway, I'm amazed. It's a great deal.
Yeah, this is an amazing cost for us. It's great. Our equipment's up to date, it's safe, we don't have to worry about them breaking down, so on and so forth.
Turns out people like nice roads too. They don't
They
want to
do.
drive through potholes or impassable dirt roads.
I like the tires on my car. The next few are for the sheriff's office. This first one is for asphalt to expand the north parking lot for $25,850. The next one is for 3 groupings of night vision goggles. And the night vision goggles are expensive. They're $11,000 a piece, but we also have to buy the batteries and a few accessories to go with them. And so our total cost for this is $44,895. The next one is for a new K9 vehicle. We're buying a 2023 Ford Expedition for $58,224, trading in our reserve K9 vehicle. It's a 2017 Chevy Tahoe for $14,000, so our cost is $44,224. The next one is the equipment and fabrication for the new K9 vehicle. This is for $17,053. And the next couple are for tourism. This first one is for general film and production work. This is a blanket PO for $53,228 is the estimated cost for the rest of the year. This next one is for a travel and adventure show booth for 2 different things. And this is for $16,177.50. Unless there's any questions on those, that is it.
Well, we've just been through a tremendous budget cutting year. And so some might question, well, wow, you're spending a lot of money. These are budgeted items which we've planned for, and for which this list could easily be 3 times as long if we honored all of the requests. But thanks to you, Ray, and we also found some good deals out there for us and making sure we toe the line. So I'll move that we approve the purchase requests that have been presented to us.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you
Thank you.
very much, Ray. Item number 6 is done. Item number 7 is consideration of ordinance number 2023-1242-0, a rezoning a certain portion of Washington County located at approximately 503 South Cottonwood Drive in Brookside from the RE40 zone, which is residential estate, 40,000 square feet minimum lot size, to the RE20 zone, which is 20,000 square foot minimum lot size, hereinafter fully described in this ordinance. Read.
Hello, thank you, Commissioners. This is a zone change request for a piece of property up in the Brookside Estates subdivision. The property owners are wanting to make some improvements on the property, but the lot is undersized for the zone that it's in. So this procedure is to bring the lot into zoning compliance. It's basically 0.62 of an acre, and it's in an RE40 zone. So by rezoning it to RE20, it'll bring it into zoning compliance so that they can get building permits. The Planning Commission heard this application during the November meeting, and they voted unanimously to send a positive recommendation to approve the zone change request, and staff is supportive of that request as well.
Thank you. Any questions for Reed?
Nope, I reviewed this with him and our attorney. I move that we approve ordinance number 2023-1242-0, a rezoning a certain portion of Washington County located approximately 503 South Conwood Drive in Brookside from RE40 to RE20 zone, and hereinafter fully described in this ordinance.
I second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Reed.
Thank you.
Item number 8 is consideration of ordinance number 2023-1243-0, an ordinance amending Washington County ordinance, Title I, Chapter 12, regarding Washington County procurement. Devin, our esteemed attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the county has a county procurement code, and the purpose of the procurement code is to make sure that the county is encouraging fair competition and making sure that the county is getting the best value on purchases so that we're using taxpayer funds wisely. The procurement code has certain bidding and other requirements for when there are larger purchases. There are certain thresholds under the procurement code. So for smaller purchases, it's required that at least a county employee calls and gets different bids and goes with the lowest bid and so forth. This amendment before you would put some exceptions in the procurement code that would help make procurement a little bit more efficient for our county departments. One exception is for renewals. So often, if the county's gone through a procurement process, that can take some time. Once you've identified a contractor or a vendor that works for the county and is bringing good value to the county, sometimes it makes more sense when you're up for a renewal just to renew that contract again rather than go through the delays and the process of having another procurement process. And so this ordinance would allow an exception for renewals. And this language before you would state also that if it's a renewal, let's say we've got a 3-year agreement, we're up for a renewal, this exception would require that the department head has reviewed the contract and other options and determined that the contract still provides the best value for the county. So it wouldn't allow for just blanket renewals. Somebody's got to look at it and make sure that the county is still getting the best value for taxpayer funds. The other exception would be for concessionaire agreements. So for example, let's say at the Dixie Center, for example, there's county space and the county wants to open up that space to help with a convention center use. So let's say we have a caterer or a vendor there that could help with space. There's no expenditure of county resources in that event, and so there's no reason to go through a public procurement process on that. So those are the 2 exceptions there, and then there's some cleanups. We worked with Ray, our wonderful purchasing agent. Currently, the procurement code says that any county department that wants to spend more than $2,500 needs to get a purchase order. This would bring that to $5,000. So any questions about this ordinance?
I don't. I've read through it. We discussed this yesterday, you and I. I feel comfortable with this. We want to make government here be more efficient and effective and not waste time unnecessarily. We need to make sure we keep going through the best practices of getting the best value and making sure that nobody's got sweetheart deals or anything like that. This still provides for protections against that, but it does allow for expediting things that we've already proven out that are routine renewals, so I'm comfortable.
Yeah, and in the review and discussion about it, it meets all of the state requirements and yet still enables us to operate efficiently. So I move that we approve ordinance number 2023-1243, amending Washington County Ordinance Title I, Chapter 12 regarding Washington County procurements.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Devin. Item number 9 is consideration of resolution number R 2023-1243-0, an ordinance amending Washington County. Oh, sorry, I started reading different things. Let me start that over. Consideration of resolution R 2023-3204, a resolution approving the Washington County Fair Director to execute agreements for the fair on behalf of Washington County. I don't see Susie here.
I'm happy to speak to this one, Commissioners. So Susie is the fair director, as you know, And often, as she is helping to organize fair events, she'll have artists and musicians that she's trying to line up, and they're presenting agreements to her. And sometimes that's in between your regular commission meetings. This resolution would give her the authority to go ahead and execute those agreements as long as she works through the county attorney's office first to make sure that we're comfortable with the terms of those agreements. These are generally smaller agreements. Again, we're just wanting to engage these musicians or performers and get them lined up without waiting for commission meetings, because often we're not meeting their deadlines. This would give her a little bit more leeway to sign those agreements and get them confirmed. But again, this requires her to work with the county attorney's office, and we'll work quickly to make sure that we're meeting those deadlines as well. So that's what this resolution would do.
Okay.
Well,
Questions?
we've just seen the general slowdown and that she misses prices that are advantageous to get a discount and deals, because there are, there's the nervousness about whether she should move forward with it. And she still often comes to us with the bigger items and make sure those are approved, because those have to be done way in advance. But the decisions made on the fly often are better for the bottom line at the county fair. And I think we've trusted her. She's worked for us. She doesn't go outside of her lane, and I appreciate that. So I move that we approve resolution number R 2023-3204, approving the Washington County Fair Director to execute agreements for the fair on behalf of Washington County.
I'll second that. And those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 10 is consideration of resolution number R 2023-3205, a resolution approving the conservation easement grant and partial release agreement, adding approximately 20 acres of conservation protected land in Confluence Park. Are you speaking to this one as well, Devin?
I didn't plan to, but I believe there's a representative from the state here to speak to this item.
Oh, there we go. Are you here to speak on this? Good.
Thank you.
Hi, Chelsea Duke. I am with the State of Utah Division of Wildlife Resources. I am the lands program coordinator. This contract that we have worked with the county on for several months is to remove the conservation easement restrictions on approximately 1.457 acres of land that is currently under a deed of conservation easement in the Confluence Park. That property no longer holds conservation easement values, and so the county wishes to release it from the restrictions of the deed of conservation easement. In its place, the county will be adding two parcels, one which is 1.364 acres, and a second parcel which is 19.338 acres, which are contiguous currently to the Confluence Park, and they would grant a conservation easement on those parcels in favor of DWR. And that would replace the economic values and the conservation values of the parcel that's being removed.
Okay.
I've seen the map and I agree.
Yep.
Appreciate that. Anything else to add to that? Or?
I'll just say that this agreement gets us started on the process. There's lots of lengthy things that we have to go through in terms before we can close on the project. Our projected closing date would be January 31st, 2025, and that was after we conduct due diligence such as appraisals, federal requirements, because we used funds from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for this. So this just gets us started on the lengthy process.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I move that we approve resolution R 2023-3205, approving a conservation easement grant and partial release agreement, adding approximately 20 acres of conservation.
Oh, actually, I apologize, Mr. Chairman. Before you make that motion,
I'm not done yet, so go ahead.
as part of this agreement, one of the terms is that the county invites public comment before an approval is given.
Oh, I see that next
So
on the list.
it would be appropriate before you make a motion on this resolution to invite public comment if there is on this specific item.
Do we need to go into public comment, or I'm just inviting public?
No, you could just open up this item for public comment.
We will now, thank you very much.
Thank
We'll
you.
now open up for public comment on this agreement. You want to step to the mic? You can.
Well, I have a concern because my backyard is Confluence Park.
Yes, it is.
So I would like to know exactly where this is.
Sure.
Well, I can tell you, there's a certain portion to the southeast facing escarpment
I
of
think we got a map right
lava.
behind you, April.
Okay,
This is the piece that would be removed from the conservation easement.
Okay, I don't have my glasses, so just tell me what streets this is around. 'Cause that would help. I don't have my glasses, I can't see.
I can almost tell you who lives on that street, but I don't know their number. But you know where the observation little kiosk is on the southeast side of, that looks northward? I don't know what that street is in Hurricane. You have it on your map. To the west of that,
Well, this was a discussion that Victor and the city of Hurricane specifically had dealt with 2 years ago. Is this the same area?
yes, it is I mean, there may have been other discussions, but the two smaller parcels abut an existing residential area that they are getting, which are not deemed conservation worthy anymore. And then the larger parcel in the gray, the sort of horseshoe or C shape, that comes to be included in Confluence Park. So it's an enhancement.
Well, I'm just concerned with the people that live in that little, if it's involving the area that's on North Main Street.
It's not North Main Street,
It's Sunset Ridge 50, well,
so it's 50 West
yeah.
is the street.
Yeah, that's my area.
Yeah, it's not the one on Main.
Okay, because where I live is Sunset Ridge.
It backs, so it's not on Sunset Ridge. It backs to the west of 50 West. The homes that are on 50 West, it's behind those.
Okay, as long as it's not my backyard.
There's nothing on Sunset Ridge. Sunset Ridge ends onto Main Street, right? It goes from Main down to 1125 North.
Yeah, I know we're 1120.
Yeah, so it's not, there's nothing against there that is being, that's all already protected. That's already in the park.
What street do you live on here?
Well, I live on North Main Street. And out right on the corner of North Main and Sunset.
Your back, the back of you is remaining orange in this.
That's
which is
still protected.
Existing.
Okay, all right. Because
Good question.
that was about ready to start a war
Hold the map up and
if
just
it was my backyard, because me and the neighbors have already gone through this once
You-
before and
you
I
on
didn't
the
want it.
corner
I don't know
there.
exactly where your house is, but from what you're saying, if you live at the corner of Sunset and North Main, it's not, that's all still in Confluence Park.
Okay, all right, that's all I need to know, thank you.
It's
question.
the piece to the north and west.
May I clarify as well?
Yeah, sure.
There was another triangle piece that we were considering many years ago that might be what's referenced, that was also going to be proposed as removed from the deed of conservation easement, and that was taken out of the agreement as we've worked through this. So only,
Maybe that's what you and Victor were talking
it
about.
could,
So
that
that's
is no
been
longer
removed.
part of this deal.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
No problem. Any further comment from anyone? Hearing none, we're gonna move forward. Now, can I make my motion? I'm most of the way through, Devin. I now move we approve Resolution R 2023-3205, a resolution approving a conservation easement grant and partial release agreement adding approximately 20 acres of conservation protected land in Confluence Park.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 11 is consideration of Resolution R 2023-3206, a resolution approving a new master services agreement between Washington County and Eagle View for imagery services utilized by the assessor's office.
Commissioners, our assessor's office uses aerial photography quite a bit in its work with their appraisers, and often it's a lot more cost effective for them to have this satellite technology to reference property rather than travel out to see it in person. So this is a software through a vendor that provides that technology. This would be a 5-year agreement. Also, certain municipalities within the county are participating as well and paying part of the cost of the agreement. But you're being asked to approve that agreement today.
Yeah. This helps the assessors do their job as we've grown. It's hard to value all the homes every 5 years. So this helps them do their job without having to get to quite as many places. We use new technology and LiDAR to help do this.
It's a drone. Okay. I move that we approve resolution number R 2023-3206, approving a new master services agreement between Washington County and Eagle View for imagery services utilized by the assessor's office.
I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 12 is consideration of resolution R 2023-3207, a resolution approving the expenditure of TRT, that's transient room tax funding for an event marketing agreement for the Copper Rock Championship events. Chad.
Yeah, the Tourism Tax Advisory Board recently voted to approve funding from the transient room tax for a marketing agreement with Copper Rock Golf Course for 2 events in 2024. As you know, as are expanding our golf recognition in Washington County, and Copper Rock out in Hurricane Golf Course is hosting 2 championship events. One is the LPGA Epson, which is the road to the professionals, so it's just one step under in May of 24. And then the following week, unprecedented for the first time in Utah, will be the LPGA Senior Championship. So it's the first time it's ever been played here. It's the legends. It's the LPGA, the female golfers who've kind of worked their way through the pros, and it has a purse of just over $400,000. And they're also opening up a tournament that weekend to have an exempt player from the Western United States. So there'll be an influx of golfers that particular weekend. So we find that these 2 tournaments are a great way to kind of add to our golf resume right now, our portfolio. The recommendation for this request is for the 2 events is $92,000 for both of these in 2024.
All funded with transient room tax.
With transient room tax from these quality golfer visitors that we're going to receive year round. And a lot of them come and play during the week. So they're not necessarily impacting the weekend because it's the best time and a little cheaper rates to play.
Sure.
Yeah. I move that we approve resolution R 2023-3207, approving the expenditure of TRT funding for an event marketing agreement for the Copper Rock Championship events.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Chad. Item number 13 is consideration of resolution R 2023-3208, a resolution approving a challenge cost-sharing agreement with the Forest Service for the completion of phases 1 and 2 of the Spring Hollow mountain bike trails. Leslie Fulmer.
Hello, Commissioners. I've been before you a couple of times with these Spring Hollow trails. We've come to you to approve agreements with the state for 2 different grants that we received for this project. And now this is the agreement with the Forest Service itself that allows us to, defines our roles in how we're going to actually construct these trails.
Great. What do these phases then bring us up to for mileage?
So all together, phase 1 and 2 will bring us to 21 miles of trail out there, and give or take as we see circumstances on the ground to go, but 21 miles of trail.
That's pretty cool.
So these are mountain bike, just for the public to know. Can you describe where these are at? What these, if nobody knows what Spring Hollow mountain bike trails is?
Spring Hollow mountain bike trails are a trail system that was approved under a environmental analysis titled the Pine Valley, for Pine Valley, and it was titled Spring Hollow and Grass Valley mountain bike trails. So this is just one part of it. Overall approved around 45 miles of trail total that have cleared that, and so this we anticipate continuing phases of these trails. This is less than halfway, almost halfway, but Spring Hollow itself is located just north of St. George. If you follow the Cottonwood Road up 12 miles, you'll come to the area it's in and east of Diamond Valley. Or Diamond Valley, sorry.
Yeah, both actually.
Yeah.
It will be world-class mountain biking, downhill biking.
We will have varying levels. There will be some downhill, there will be loops, there will be associated facilities, trailhead, so on. It'll be wonderful.
And we applaud your work on this and everybody. The Forest Service does not always like people on forest lands that are owned by the American people. They often try and shut them down and try and exclude people from them. This is a great thing to allow people on the proactive work, Nick and others that from the Forest Service that work. You have a little bit of knowledge with the Forest Service, having been a former employee, so it helps us navigate some of that bureaucracy and getting these approved. But this is a new use that wasn't there before, and that's kind of rare in America now for the Forest Service to do a huge project like this. So this is going to be good.
It is unique, not impossible, but unique. And this isn't just a small number of miles that they're going to work with us on. This is a large number of miles of new trail, new mountain biking. And then we've had local support as well from various trail groups. So.
Yeah.
And to your point, Chair, earlier, these are trails being built with TRT funds
Yes.
and which are available to the general public. So once again, all of us who mountain bike and enjoy that, who live here, are enjoying trails that are built by those who visit here.
I will tell you, it's an area with a great view,
Yeah.
slightly higher in elevation, so we'll have a little bit longer season to be able to mountain bike on it before it gets just too hot.
It's never too hot up there. It's paradise, Leslie.
It is beautiful.
I move we approve Resolution R 2023-3208, approving a challenge cost-sharing agreement with the Forest Service for the completion of phases 1 and 2 of the Spring Hollow Mountain Bike Trail System.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Leslie. Item 14 is consideration of Resolution 2023-3209, a resolution approving Amendment Number 1 to the interlocal cooperative agreement between Washington County and the City of St. George that created the Washington County Interlocal Agency. Devin.
Commissioners, this amendment relates back to an interlocal agreement that was entered in the 90s. So back in the 90s, the City of St. George and the county wanted to work cooperatively to finance and construct the Dixie Center. And the best way of doing that, as was decided at the time, was to form an interlocal entity called WICA, or Washington County Interlocal Agency. Form WICA and bond for those improvements and construct the Dixie Center. And since then, WICA has continued to operate the Dixie Center. The bonds that were used to finance the construction of the Dixie Center have now been paid off. So we've been 24 years now. So WICA has served its purposes. This amendment would modify the interlocal agreement to make it clear that WICA would be dissolved at the end of this month, at the end of this year. And one note before, so I don't have to interrupt you, Commissioner, we're still working with the city's attorneys on some of the final details of this amendment, and so if you could make any motion subject to attorney's approval on that, that would be helpful.
I move that we approve resolution number R 2023-3209, a resolution approving amendment number 1 to the interlocal cooperative agreement between Washington County and City of St. George that created the Washington County Interlocal Agency, subject to legal review and refinement, not to deviate from the intent of the motion in its entirety.
Does that work for you? I like it. I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 15 is consideration of Resolution R 2023-3210, a resolution approving an agreement to wind up the Washington County St. George Interlocal Agency. Seems related, Devin.
Yes, this is related, Commissioners. Any time under state law that an interlocal entity is being dissolved or wound up, it requires that we sort out what to do with the property that's owned by that entity. And so, just in general, you have the entire agreement before you, but just to summarize, the Dixie Center property would come to the county. The county will continue to operate and maintain the Dixie Center moving forward. City employees who have been assigned exclusively to the Dixie Center would become county employees. who would continue to work at the Dixie Center. Legacy Park would come to the county. The city and the county will continue to work together on an advisory board to sort through and consider matters related to the Dixie Center in the future. And as with the amendment that you just approved, we're still working with the city's attorneys on some of the fine details of this agreement as well. And so I would recommend that you make any approval subject to review and approval of the county attorney's office.
Okay. We've already explained this one, so I think that was a good summary. I move that we approve Resolution R 2023-3211, providing for, nope, we're gonna go back up one. Resolution R 2023-3210, a resolution approving an agreement to wind up the Washington County St. George Interlocal Agency subject to legal review and approval.
Snorkel.
Yeah. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Devin. Item number 16 is consideration of Resolution R 2023-3211, a resolution providing for appointed board members in the Northwest Special Service District. Devin again.
So currently, the Northwestern Special Service District has an elected board. Several elections in the past, in recent years, have had to be canceled because of a lack of interest and candidates not running for positions on those boards. The county has found that with some of these rural districts, it's helpful to have appointed boards. This resolution would change Northwest to an appointed board so that future vacancies would be appointed and filled by the county commission rather than having elections for those board seats. But just to be very clear, this resolution wouldn't change the current board composition. It would only change how vacancies would be filled and future openings would be filled.
So the elected members are still elected and sitting on that board. This, as you said, fills the vacancies. Part of the problem for this for the general public who probably isn't paying any attention to it, like we are, is that this has been a very difficult process as we've been trying to work towards a consolidation of some of the smaller SSDs, which are special service districts along the Highway 18 corridor, including over to Gunlock, which is not on Highway 18, but we lump it in when we talk for some reason. And so as we continue to work through that process, some of the necessity of going through an election, we don't want to make them what was going to be negated by the consolidation, but we didn't want to, when that hasn't happened yet, we don't want to leave this board incomplete. We don't want to make them go through a costly and kind of awkward new special election in a January when everybody just had an election, nobody's going to pay attention to it. And we've got upcoming presidential and gubernatorial and other things going on. So this is the way that as we continue to work towards this consolidation and trying to find the best way to provide service to the residents at the best value along the Highway 18 corridor, this is a way to fill that for now. So, well, we don't have public comment on here, but I'll allow. Yeah, go ahead if you want to come to the mic.
Western Fire Districts. The fact that we haven't done that yet, and we had assurances earlier this year that we would have this done, our insurance rates are going up, mine did, as well as dozens of other people. We've had people get canceled on their insurance because this keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. Northwest should have been dissolved as of the end of this month. They expected it, we expected it, and then we had more delays. So we've had only one meeting of Mountain Fire, which was last week, and we really asked that we get some focused input from you. Dozens of us have left messages in your offices for discussion. We've never had a call back. We've emailed. I have personally. 12 people said they have last week. So it's a problem. And we really appreciate what you do for us, but it's impacting us. It's impacting our lives and our pocketbook.
So, thank you for the comment. And your name again?
Mark Kane.
Mark
Yes.
Can?
Kane.
Kane. Thank you very much, Mr. Kane.
Thank you.
And let me, you can go ahead and have your seat, but let me address that, is that we've not abandoned the effort. There has been obstacles that were unforeseen that have come up, and we're addressing this. The insurance issue is honestly an issue all over the nation, not just because of this. Inflation causes, if you have a fire, something's burns down, you need to repair or replace a home, it's going to be more expensive than it was when you maybe originally get. So I'm just saying the inflationary pressure on insurance is not just localized to this issue, but I can tell you that we have some solutions very shortly that I think will address some of your concerns. So we're not unaware at all, and we would have liked to have had this wrapped up by now as well. So thank you for the comment. With that, is it your turn?
Right, and I can say that I haven't had dozens of people from Central call me. I've talked to 2 individuals and explained what Commissioner Snow did, and believe me, I know what it is. I have a cabin, and the insurance people are like, they don't care. So, except for more money, right? All right, having said that, I move that we approve Resolution 2023-3211, providing for appointed board members in the Northwestern Special Service District.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 17 is consideration of Resolution R 2023-3212, a resolution appointing members to the Specially Funded Transportation Special Service District Board.
I will. Well, Jeff Hall has served there already and is willing to continue service. Mark Owens, a former member of our planning commission, feels like he'd stay involved, and this would be a great board for him to serve on. So both those individuals I would highly recommend. In fact, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2023-3212, appointing members to the Specially Funded Transportation Special Service District Board, Jeff Hall and Mark Owens, terms expiring 12/31/2027.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 18 is consideration of Resolution R 2023-3213, a resolution appointing a member to the Washington County Agriculture Protection Area Advisory Board.
Lloyd Jessup has has accepted the opportunity to serve there as well, and his term also expires 12/31/2027. I make the motion to mimic what you just read into the minutes.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 19 is the consideration of Resolution R 2023-3214, a resolution appointing members to the Washington County Noxious Weed Board. The 3 members that we're proposing to appoint here are Dean Wolfenstein, who is our Deputy Public Works Director and Road Superintendent, Ben Scow from Utah State Extension Office, and Zach Perry, whose terms would expire on December 31st, 2027. For those who don't know, the Noxious Weed Board is actually one of the most unsung heroes of the county, in that we don't like weeds. Weeds spread. And so this is a board that tries to just tackle those on, they work with public land and on private land. They work with the BLM and the Forest Service. We try and keep those weeds that are most invasive. While it seems like we're not doing a very good job because there's weeds everywhere in my yard, well, we actually are tackling them constantly and trying to keep weeds down along roadways and along, actually all over the place. It also greatly impacts agriculture. We don't want weeds that would get into certain farms and stuff that would impact somebody's ability to have their crop or livestock, whatever it might be. So that's what the weed board does, is kind of help direct those things. For the people that are on that board, man, they love the weed board. And so I'm kind of like Roundup Works, right? But those that are on the weed board, this is a passion. So I move that we approve Resolution R 2023-3214, appointing members to the Washington County Noxious Weed Board, and Dean Wolfenstein, Ben Scow, Zach Perry, with terms expiring December 31st, 2027.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. With that, that concludes our regular agenda. Meetings are rebroadcast daily on TDS cable channels 22 and 108 at 10, 2, and 5:30 for your viewing pleasure. They're also available on demand at youtube.com Community Education Channel. With that, we adjourn.
Thank you.